it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is PSReady, my channel all about PlayStation. We're going to dig into all the biggest stories that dropped over the weekend. In today's video, I'm mixing it up with 5 topics for you guys. The first one is that Sony has finally announced the next showcase. Then we're going to talk about how Sony is facing a breakup with one of its biggest allies. Third, we're going to talk about how the new PS5 update is hiding a really cool small feature. Fourth on the list, we now know the next PC release. And then fifth, we're going to talk about some new partnerships between PlayStation and Lego. All right, let's jump into this first news story real quick, which is all about the next PlayStation showcase, which thankfully finally has been confirmed, not only to be happening next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but it is confirmed to be a showcase. This was hinted in the letter from Hiroki Totoki where he announced the 2 new CEOs of Sony. But you know, it's nice to hear from Sony that this is not something small, it's something big. It's exactly what we need and what we want from PlayStation. There's supposedly going to be a bunch of big games there, like a new Astrobot, maybe Resident Evil 9, which you know I'm really excited for, Ghost of Tsushima 2, whatever Naughty Dog's working on before The Last of Us Part 3, Fair Games, and Concord, because Concord is going to come out this year. Hopefully there's some stuff we don't know about, because that's always exciting. Maybe even this potential Lego game I'm going to talk about later in the video, which also might be Lego sets, but if it's a game, we could be hearing about it at this showcase. This might just seem like a regular game showcase on the surface, but as we all know, the one last year didn't go over very well because there was a lack of first-party games. We did get Spider-Man 2 gameplay, but outside of that, we didn't really have anything to look forward to from Sony. I talk about this a lot in my weekend video, but PlayStation 5 sales are down quite a bit from where they were last fourth quarter, so like 2022's fourth quarter, and the reason for that, of course, is mainly because there hasn't really been a lot of first-party output, so getting a showcase from Sony where they give people a reason to buy PlayStation 5s, because every game they announce is theoretically going to be PlayStation 5 exclusive, I think that's exactly what they need right now to generate some hype. But yeah, I'm just excited to see what Sony has to show us, because again, in their business update, they said we're going to find out about the future of PlayStation as a brand, so we might get some hardware announcements, some software announcements, and even more stuff that we don't even know yet, which the best stuff is the stuff we don't even know yet. This video is sponsored by Exter. I've been in dire need of a new wallet, so I was super excited when Exter offered to sponsor this video with their Parliament wallet. I've been using this thing for a week, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I absolutely love it. It's about half the size of a regular wallet, but it holds up to 12 cards. My favorite thing about it is the quick access feature, so you just push this little button on the side of the wallet, and then your cards will pop out and they'll be tiered so you can see them all and grab the one you need super quickly. And if you're someone who prefers carrying cash like I do, there's a little elastic strap in there that holds your cash nice and neat and ready to go. They also sent over their new Finder card, which is like the size of a debit card. It goes in your wallet and it allows you to use the Find My app on your iPhone to track your wallet if you ever lose it or, God forbid, it gets stolen. You can ring your card and you'll hear it up to 300 feet away because it has a nice loud beep. And when you're in the Find My app, you can not only track it to exactly where it is, but you can also set it up to get a notification if you leave your wallet behind, which is great for me because I am a chronic wallet leave at home kind of guy. It includes a magnetic charging cable, but you won't need it that often because the battery life is up to 6 months, which is crazy. And I like that the Parliament wallet comes with a slot in the back specifically made for this card. If you're someone who likes an even slimmer profile though, they have an aluminum card case, which looks really cool and also works with this Finder card. And they also make bags and other cool products that have functionality and durability in mind, so I highly recommend checking out their site to see if anything catches your eye. And if you need a last second gift for Father's Day, they're running a sale right now that gives you up to 45% off if you use my code PSReady or my link, which is exter.com/PSReady. That link is down in the description, and remember to use my code when you check out. Once again, huge shout out to Exter for sponsoring this video. Let's jump back into it. So we all know that Square Enix is in a little bit of a rough spot right now. They are just not really selling a lot of games. We saw this last summer when Final Fantasy 16 was released. They said it was a disappointment in terms of sales figures. We just saw this recently with Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, which is not selling anywhere near what Square Enix probably wanted to. We saw this on the Nintendo Switch when they released a bunch of strategy games all in the same period. We got Diofield Chronicle, Project Triangle Strategy, and various Daylife. There were even a couple of more thrown in between there. They released Valkyrie Elysium, I'm pretty sure is what it was called. That didn't sell very well at all. They released the Pixel remasters, which sold decently, but again, not up to the standard they wanted. And because of that, in their recent business call, they basically said they're going scorched earth with their entire strategy and rebuilding from the ground up, which includes going full multi-platform. They specifically say all HD titles that are released in the future are not only going to be on PlayStation, they're also going to be on Xbox, Nintendo Switch, Switch and PC. Of course, after this was announced, you saw all the classic Xbox creators going crazy saying that they're giving up on Sony, they're not going to have exclusives anymore, but I don't think that's really the biggest problem that they have to face right now, because out of all those games I just listed, I'm pretty sure just 2 of them were full-on PlayStation exclusives, which were Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Final Fantasy 16. 16's about to come out on PC, and I guarantee you that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will be on PC within the next year, so, you know, it's not really like they're giving up on the exclusive model that they have with PlayStation. They're just changing the way they do it, and the way they're changing it, I think from what I'm reading here, is that everything's going to just be day and date everywhere instead of on PlayStation first. Now, there's a few problems here that I think they're gonna quickly kind of come up against. The first one is that the Nintendo Switch just literally can't run games like Final Fantasy 16 or Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, so if they do end up releasing those, they'll probably be on the Nintendo Switch 2, which got a big leak over the weekend as well, which basically makes it look like it's on par with the PS4 Pro, or maybe a little less powerful than that, so you could probably see Rebirth or 16 maybe getting a really pared down port once the PC port comes out. But there's also the fact that it's not necessarily the exclusivity that's been hurting them with these games, it's just that the quality hasn't been to where people want it to. We all know when Final Fantasy 16 came out on PS5, there were problems with the performance mode. If you were in the open world, it ran at like 40 FPS most of the time, and then when you would get into battles, it just like skyrocketed up to a perfectly locked 60, which was weird. The quality mode was cool, but it would regularly drop into the low 20s when you were getting into some of the bigger icon fights. That really rubbed people the wrong way. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I don't think has an issue graphically. Like when you're playing in the open world in the 60 FPS mode, yes, it is a little bit soft. The draw distances are pretty close, and just like everything's a little bit muddy, but you get a hard lock 60 FPS in return, which I think is worth it. And the quality mode not only looks good, it runs at a hard lock 30 FPS, but people kind of took umbrage with that. They were saying the PS5 is powerful. We've seen games like Spider-Man 2 having ray tracing in an open world at 60 FPS, so the game kind of felt undercooked to a lot of people. And when you talk about the sales figures with Rebirth, it's very easy to explain why it's not really lighting the sales charts on fire. If you look at the trophy completion for Final Fantasy VII Remake, like 30% of the people who bought it actually finished it, so that's your potential audience for a direct sequel right there. Like, that's not shocking at all. The pixel remasters, I don't know what the problem was there. Maybe it's just that the audience is just a little too old at this point, and a big chunk of it has maybe aged out of gaming. They've also stated, though, that they saw declining sales on mobile, and that makes sense because these pixel remasters are expensive as hell on iPhone. I bought Final Fantasy VII on my iPhone to play when I'm on the treadmill, and I think it was like 15 bucks, and I looked at all the other Final Fantasy games that have the pixel remasters. They were also expensive, and we all know that the only way to really succeed on the App Store these days is to have a free-to-play game that has like tons of microtransactions and everything like that, even though people like us do pony up money to play these games for full price so we don't have to deal with ads or microtransactions. The vast majority of people who play on phones don't do that. The silver lining here is that Square Enix seems to have got the right lesson learned from all of this, which is great. You never see that in the games industry. They specifically say, alongside this new multi-platform strategy that they're going to have, which isn't really changing anything because they already were multi-platform, they're going to focus on quality over quantity going forward. So while we might get a release like Project Triangle Strategy, which is a quality game, it has a great story, great combat, people really enjoyed that game. Games that are sort of spin-offs of it, like the Diofield Chronicle or Various Day Life, those are the ones that I think are probably going to be left on the cutting room floor. As far as releasing games on Xbox day and date, I don't think they're going to see much of a sales bump because the problem wasn't that the game was exclusive to PlayStation. The problem was people didn't see the quality there to the point that they wanted to spend 70 bucks. So if they're not spending 70 on PlayStation, there's no way in hell they're showing up to spend 70 bucks on Xbox. People don't buy games on Xbox. They wait for them to come to Game Pass, or they just don't play the game at all. As we've seen with Sony though, I think PC is going to do really well for them if they can figure out their port situation. Their ports are terrible. Final Fantasy VII Remake needs a lot of mods to actually run correctly, even on regular PCs. On the Steam Deck, you need even more mods. There's a whole classic bit with Square Enix where you wait like 2 to 3 years for a game to get ported to PC, and then it's a piece of crap port when it comes out. So they really need to address that. But if they're focusing on quality over quantity, maybe they'll learn that they need to actually develop their games correctly for PC for people to show up and buy them. If the Switch 2 comes out sooner rather than later and is an actual performance jump to the level we've heard, I think they could sell well there. But I think this is a good strategy for them overall in terms of the quality over quantity aspect. I don't really care about multi-platform. I'm playing them on PS5 day one no matter what. It doesn't really change anything for me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I guess don't believe the lies on this one because, you know, the big focus of the news story is that Square Enix is going full multi-platform because PlayStation isn't showing up. That's not the problem. The problem is the quality of their games and spreading themselves too thin. That brings us to the second news story though, which is this secret feature tucked away within the new PlayStation 5 update. It's nothing crazy, but it is kind of fixing something that's been really annoying for people who have either the PlayStation Portal or use remote play with Chiaki for Deck on the Steam Deck, which is what I do. I'm sure you've run into this if you've ever used remote play on your PS5, but when you actually start remote playing from it, in the top right corner, there's a little notification that says remote play has been initiated. And ever since the PS Portal came out, that notification would just not go away. So it would cover up critical HUD elements. And beyond that, it is just annoying to have a little notification up there permanently that stays until you stop remote playing the game. Deep in the patch notes, they say they've addressed that issue. And I checked out a Reddit thread where people were like, hey, they finally fixed this issue. And some people are saying, yep, I remote played on my PS Portal. That notification came up right when I started playing the game, but it quickly went away. Other people are saying that it did stay for a little bit, but then when they restarted the remote play session, it did come up and then go away. So it seems like it is working pretty much as intended, which is great. I'm just really happy about all the support the PlayStation Portal is getting. Usually when you see Sony have something that pops off, they still don't tend to support it as well as they should, but we've gotten some really good updates for the PS Portal. If you remember, just a couple of months ago, they updated it and they made the streaming quality a lot better. There's less blockiness, there's less latency. The quality of the image coming through really does seem like it's a full 1080p image. There is one core issue though, where the screen's refresh rate isn't matched right with what a TV is. So when you're playing a game, no matter what, you might get a little bit of weird frame pacing issues, but it seems like most people don't notice that. So it's not something that I think is critical to address. I just think it'd be cool if they did go back and address it. But yeah, the more incremental features that they add to the PS Portal, the more enticing of a sale that thing is. And I'm happy to report that this new shipment of PS Portals seems to be really holding strong. I'm glad they were able to turn those things around a lot quicker than they were the PS5, because we were waiting multiple years to get PS5s readily available. But like now, you can just go on Best Buy, Amazon, Target, pick up a PS Portal and have it at your house immediately. I also saw that if you get open box ones, you can get them as low as $150, which is a really good deal because the price point of a brand new one at $200 was already the perfect price point. So getting it for $50 cheaper, I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. I still haven't pulled the trigger on one. I don't know if I'm going to. I have a Steam Deck OLED and Chiaki for Deck. Every time I start to get a little bit of that like desire to pick up a Portal, Chiaki gets a new update and it works a lot better than the Portal from what I can tell, and having an OLED screen already available where I don't have to spend $150 to $200, I'm just like, I think I'm going to stick with that for now. But if you have a Portal, I'm glad that it's continually getting better for you. Third on the list here, we have the next game coming after Ghost of Tsushima to PC from the PlayStation 5, and that game is God of War Ragnarok. Now, this is actually a pretty quick turnaround. It's not necessarily the quickest one. We've seen ones that came a lot quicker over to the PC, but I think this is going to be a huge release on PC because God of War 2018, I'm pretty sure still holds the record for the best-selling PlayStation game on PC. If not, it's definitely Spider-Man Remastered, but that's a game that sold extremely well when they ported it to PC, and that's one that I played through on PC, and it was a markedly better experience, not only over the PlayStation 4, but over the PlayStation 5 because it included DLSS. So if you had a good graphics card like I do, you could run the game pretty much maxed out at 4K and get a hard locked 60 frames per second. And whatever patches they've done since the PS4 release of that game, it's still one of the best looking games I've ever played. So if Nixes can figure out how to port this game the exact same way, being a sequel that's much bigger and everything like that, it's one that I think a lot of people are going to be excited for and show up for on Steam when it finally releases. Another cool thing that I think PC players are going to like is that because this game doesn't have any online connectivity, I don't think there's going to be any reason to have to log into the PlayStation Network, but it would be cool if, just like Ghost of Tsushima, if you do log into the PlayStation Network, your trophies sync across both releases. That wouldn't be as big of a deal for me with this game because I have most of the trophies on PS5 already, but any little feature they can add to make that login feel necessary versus just being an arbitrary thing that people have to do, I think that's going to go over better with a lot of PC players. The biggest problem though with having to log into the PlayStation Network to play these games on PC is where the game is available. So there's a big issue with Helldivers 2 where people in other countries that the PlayStation Network is not available in actually were able to buy Helldivers 2, but if Sony actually went through with their plan to make people log in, they would lose access to the game, which I'm just going to be honest is complete bullshit. If they were going to do that at any point, they should have never sold the game in that country in the first place. So with Ghost of Tsushima, you do need the PlayStation Network login to be able to use the Legends mode to play multiplayer. So when that game comes out, it's just not going to be available in those 153 countries where you have to log into the PlayStation Network. I don't really know what the fix is here. I would appreciate if Sony just expanded the regions where it was available, because I'm on the other side of the PC people, I think, where it is worth it to log into the PlayStation Network, I think at least, because you get trophies and it takes 10 seconds to set up a PlayStation Network account. And obviously I want as many people who want to play the game to be able to play the game. But yeah, again, it's just not really that big of an issue for me because my main platform is PlayStation 5. So when I got Helldivers 2 or I got Spider-Man Remastered, I just logged into the PlayStation Network for fun because I like the PlayStation Network and they're adding in trophy support. So really no reason not to, if you ask me. I'm really hoping though that the next game to come to PC is Gran Turismo 7. I just think that game is perfect for PC to get higher frame rates when you're using a racing wheel and everything like that. I have a full setup at my desk with a great speaker system. I have my Logitech G923 set up on my desk, and I'd just love to be able to play that game on my desk setup versus trying to use my racing wheel on the couch, because that's not really the best way to do it. And that brings us to the fourth news story here on my list, which is about a new collaboration between LEGO and Sony. We've seen them do this one time so far with the Horizon set that they did. It came with an Aloy minifig and it was the tall neck. I didn't pick it up because, again, I'm not the biggest Horizon fan, but it is an objectively cool set. When I saw this, I was hoping it meant that they were going to expand the LEGO license that they have outward into other properties, but it looks like we're just getting more Horizon sets. When I was Googling this, people were really excited about it because Horizon, again, is a big franchise for Sony, but I'd personally love to see maybe some Ratchet and Clank sets, Uncharted sets, The Last of Us sets. They have so many different IP that I think would translate super well to LEGO. And with the Horizon set, it's not a kid set. It's one of the adult sets that comes in a black box. So they're already in the more adult track with that stuff. So I don't think it would be that big of a deal if they made a Last of Us set or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be honest, when I saw this news story, I thought it meant that there was going to be a LEGO Horizon game coming, which I thought would be awesome because the LEGO Fortnite survival game that they added is actually really cool. And I just love expanding LEGO games beyond remaking a movie where you get to play through the thing from start to finish in LEGO form. I just think there's a lot you could do there, and playing that LEGO game in Fortnite, it already feels like it would translate really well to Horizon because it's an open world game where you're taking on big bosses and everything like that. It just would be cool to have a Horizon game where you're a little LEGO Aloy or something, or a custom Horizon character taking on these giant robot monsters. Anyway guys, that's all I've got for you today. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and shape on.